All right, Zach. Talk about USC falls to TCU 27-30. Now, I will point out the opt-outs, but I am not excusing anything because of the opt-outs. USC obviously did not have Danton Lynn in this game. That just happened. What was it? That the 29th or the 28th? So a day or two before this game. I would think USC was probably prepping not to have him with kind of the way the rumors and stuff were going, but still,
Yeah.
that is really late to lose a coach to not be coaching in this game. They also were without Makai Lemon, Jacoby Lane, Lake McCree, Eric Gentry, Kamari Ramsey, and they had some players who were missing for postseason injury, and Elijah Page, Killian O'Connor, and Jakeem Stewart. Again, not an excuse because TCU had guys out as well. Josh Hoover did not play in this game. I think he was the only real big name for TCU, but still, this is a USC team that I felt like was better than this TCU team all season long. And
Yep.
unfortunately for them, they get into this game and the defense was a huge issue for USC. Offense left some to be desired as well, but I also think you got some really good plays that I don't think it's the offense's fault. And to be clear, I don't think it's the defense's fault either. I just think that the defense was the one that had absolutely atrocious tackling, questionable third down call decisions, and I think at multiple times during this game, you had the opportunity to really kind of put it away, and Eric Henderson just never really called for that. He kind of just played it safe, and
Yep.
you know that's what happens when you play it safe and a team is hungry like TCU and wants to come in and get the upset.
Yeah. I think my overall reaction is the problem isn't that USC lost, it's how they lost. So, like, going back to the opt outs, so Josh Hoover, quarterback for TCU, is out. Ken Seals, I did not realize this going into the game. He has a lot of experience, or he had a lot of experience. I think this is
Oh
his
yeah.
last game.
Hmm.
Played 3 years at Vanderbilt, had some starts, threw for over 4,000 yards in his career, threw for 29 touchdowns in his career. So it's not like you have a true freshman making his first start. It's not Lincoln Keenholz in the Cotton Bowl 2 years ago, right? It's a legit quarterback for TCU. You still have really good players. They did not have a ton of opt-outs outside of the quarterback. And you had tons of opt-outs for USC and like significant ones, not just the receivers, but the safeties, and two offensive linemen were out. And so like there is real explanation for why USC didn't play as well. It's how you're up 24-14. Like Maava got over some of his bad play early. And I did not think Maava looked great in the first 2.5 quarters. He threw the two picks.
A lot of underthrown balls. That
Yeah.
pass was behind the receiver in the end zone that was intercepted.
Yeah. But you get to 24-14, and it's like, all right, it's go time. And to your point, they were passive. It was almost like they assumed the game was over. And I can understand why there might be a little bit of moment, or like a little bit of the energy uh, got let out of the stadium when the fumble recovery for a touchdown got overturned. Like that was a key moment in the game where you're like, oh, the game is over. It's 30-14. And it's like, oh, actually, no, it was an incomplete pass. I, I can understand that, but this has been my criticism of Lincoln Riley all along is how are you coaching your guys up? And you need to at this point, because how many true freshmen were playing for USC and getting them ready emotionally, getting them ready to go. And he didn't do that. And like they tackled well in the first 3 quarters, 3.5 quarters. It was the last half of the quarter in overtime where they stunk. And that's on coaching.
Yeah, I totally agree. Roblox came in here and says, "Bro, y'all understand we were 6-5 last year. We made a big improvement. You totally did, man. I mean, I don't know if you've
Yeah.
been listening to the show all season long, but we give USC tons of credit, especially coming off of that. I am just not going to use the excuse of players not playing because I don't let the SEC use that excuse."
Yep.
Right. So
Yep.
I'm not going to say that that's an excuse for a game. I will say that if you're a USC fan, there were some positives in this one of some of the young players that played. King Miller, I mean, we've seen him play well all season long. He had some really good plays in this one. Dakoon Hines, I think he's a number one wide receiver in the
That dude's
waiting.
awesome.
I don't know if he's ready next year or not. I think he's a true freshman this year, but
Yep.
he he's going to be a number one wide receiver by the end of his career. Jaden Richardson with that catch there in the end zone.
Oh my goodness.
That was spectacular. And then also, Alex Graham was playing with his head on fire. You know, Cameron Crawford was a really good pass rusher in this game. That's the thing to me. And we could probably talk about the defensive coordinator now. Like, yes, we're gonna, you know, bad game by Lincoln Riley, and the defense wasn't great, but also you had opt outs. You had the coach that, left right before it. It's not an excuse, but it is something you have to recognize. If anything, you look at this and you say, you know what? Got our butts handed to us in the fourth quarter, but there's a whole lot of really good young talent on this team that if you bring in a Pete Kwiatkowski or somebody like that, they're going to be attracted to the young talent that they saw. Well, maybe attracted to was not the correct terminology there, but
Well,
they
it's going
they
to
are
be an
going.
attractive destination.
Yes,
Yeah.
attractive. It's going to be an attractive young talent to come into, and also this recruiting class that is coming in as well is going to be very attractive to come in and coach up with. I mean, you guys got like guys like Luke Wayful and other guys that are coming in this class that are going to be maybe not day one starters, but day one contributors at the very least for this
Yeah.
team. And also, as we've seen, USC's not afraid to spend money in the portal to get some guys in there. So, yeah, the refs weren't great in this game. You know me, I'm not gonna blame the refs all that much. Like you got to play through it. It sucks. Don't get me wrong. But overall, you lost on a 3rd and 20 where you weren't able to tackle the guy. That's not on the refs. They had him in position to
Yeah.
to win the game and
Well,
just doesn't come through.
and I thought the refs kind of screwed TCU before that because that catch, the catch that they overturned, it felt very similar to that Jeremiah Smith bobble that really wasn't a bobble.
Yeah, I mean
And
that's a catch though. Catch is a little bit different than like bobbling it into the end zone. But yeah, I can see what you're saying.
well, it just I'm like that's hard to overturn, and they overturned it, and you're like, and I say this as a sorry, I just
And
saw the
it's yeah.
comment.
Okay, all right. I'll find a different terminology. Let me go to the thesaurus really fast. Zach, you
Yeah.
talk. Just kidding.
But I think the officiating was awful in this game. I think that is clear. I think here's what I don't want to just say this is all bad. You have a lot of young talent, and I really agree with what you're saying. The thing that concerns me is we have these are things that we have been concerned about with Lincoln Riley for years now, and he's still not he hasn't fixed it. And granted, we were after Ryan Day after some things, and he finally got over the hump, and that's why there's more confidence in him now. I don't have confidence in Lincoln Riley. I thought I could because I'm like, I think things are changing. The talent level is getting better, and that's huge. But what's he going to do without Danton Lynn next year? Like, is he going to get the right guy? And is he gonna fix some of these tendencies to choke in the tough games? I don't know, but this was a horrendous coaching performance in the last quarter and overtime.
What'd you think of the deep ball on 3rd and 6 play call?
It was terrible.
It felt like they were vying for a pass interference there.
Yeah, and they weren't going to get it.
Yeah,
They didn't get it all game.
I would have much rather them go to King Miller. They were having
Yeah.
so much success with the check down to King Miller.
Well, and even you ram King Miller twice at the 2-yard line when they have you outmanned in the middle. Like, you've got one of the best quarterbacks in the country. What I get why you don't want to spread it out, but do something like get King Miller out on the outside.
Yeah,
Get
I
him
think
isolated.
I think a situation like that's where it really showed not having Walker Lyons and Lake McCree
Yeah.
in that game because Lyons is in the portal and McCree didn't play because of the NFL draft, I believe. So
Yeah.
yeah, unfortunate. You know, We'll see what USC does next year. I think USC is going to be much better, providing they make the right DC hire. They hire a guy like Pete Kwiatkowski. I think that's going to be fantastic. They hire a guy like Eric Henderson or Doug Belk. I'm not going to love it. I think you need to bring in a new guy for this defense. And the beautiful thing is, I think you have a good assistant coaching staff. I think you keep Eric Henderson around. I think you keep Doug Belk around. I think those guys are good assistant coaches. But I think I think I saw too many issues in this game for me to trust giving it away to a guy like Eric Henderson.
Yeah.